we're watching therapy and you couldn't tell if the kid was doing well or not. It was like, where's the feedback? Like, if you ever were to see me in therapy, a kid does the smallest thing, not even right, but like halfway right. And I'm like, yeah, like I'm pumped, right? I'm like, good job. You
nice.
Like I'm firing them up, right? But over there, it was like dirt, like very drill oriented, very little feedback. And so little things like that it's like, you gotta, like, kids learn through play. Like, that was a novel concept.
Hey guys, my name is Katie Enterkin, and I'm on a mission to help humans become the best possible versions of themselves and to unveil what I like to call the beautiful beast that already lives inside us all. And welcome to the podcast about everything and a little bit of nothing. I've had the privilege to talk to all kinds of different humans who have been through a plethora, I love big words, a myriad of experiences just being a human and existing. These are real conversations with real people, getting to know each other, sharing stories that make us cry, and occasionally pee our pants with laughter. We talk about all kinds of life stuff: parenthood, business, life goals, fitness, chasing your dreams, and yes, even some animal noises are involved. For more information, keep listening. This is the Unveiling the Beast podcast. Hey guys, welcome back. So, do you have certain friends where, like, every time you get together with them, you laugh so hard your cheeks hurt, or like your whole face hurts? Well, in this episode, I'm hanging out with my home slice, Dani Newcombe. She is a freaking badass, former personal trainer turned speech pathologist who now works with the autistic population, specifically children. We kick off our little chit-chat by, of course, catching up and, talking about sexy lingerie backdrops and gallon water bottles. Then we discussed a few special trips that she took to China. And then somehow our conversation naturally steered toward intuitive eating and diet culture, which, if you've been listening to me long enough, you know it's like my love language. As always, I hope something lands with you today. I hope something you hear tugs on your heartstrings, and or I hope you laugh. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, I am with Dani Newcombe.
Hi.
Dani Newcombe. Dani Newcombe.
That's me. That's me.
And this is actually round 2. We recorded a really fabulous episode a few months ago, and we'll just leave it to your imagination of what could possibly go wrong with an episode.
Everything. My computer shut off 30 minutes in, and Katie was singing by herself.
Dani Newcombe. Was that what I was singing? I think it is.
Like, she doesn't know that it turned off.
Oh, yeah. I still have videographic evidence.
Oh, man. Where you're by yourself. I was like, no, like running around trying to get it on my phone. And then we realized the audio was better when I got it on my phone.
Yeah. That's so funny. And now she came up with a new idea, ladies and gentlemen. Since I record these in my closet.
Yes, I'm excited about this.
Just for shits and giggles, or pooping and laughing, as my husband would say, I put my nicer articles of clothing behind me as like what's it called? Backdrop.
Mm-hmm. It creates a nice a backdrop.
Yeah.
And but
she suggested
mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Hang some dirty, raunchy lingerie right behind you with some freaky sex stuff, and let's just throw it up there. So your next podcast guest, you're like, okay, click on hey, and they're like, oh gosh, what's hanging behind you? Oh, I'm so sorry. My bad. Well, we've come so far.
We have.
And by we, I mean you. You've come so far.
No,
taking credit for all the podcasts. I did in my new digs. I am still in Indiana. Still cold as balls. In fact, it's snowing right now.
Oh, how's that working out?
It's cold.
It's cold.
The dog loves the snow. I'm still not great at driving in the snow, but it's not bad. It's not horrible. But apparently it's been a mild winter, so let's hope it stays that way. So yes, in that case, we have both come so far. Oh, look.
Yay!
Every day I drink from that gallon. I brought it to the new clinic that I'm working at, and manager walks in, she's like, "Oh, is that a gallon?" I was like, "Yeah, girl, gotta say hi."
Is that a gallon? You started the trend. I have now bought that thing for 4 people.
Really?
Yeah.
I love this thing. Haul it to the gym. I'm like, I'm hydrated. I'm healthy. Yeah. I pee a lot.
I pee all the time.
But I'm healthy. Excellent.
So, Dani.
Katie.
I just gave your name 3 syllables. Dani.
Dani. That used to drive my dad nuts when I was growing up. And I'd say, Noah. And he would be like, Noah,
what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Stop it.
Stop it. And he would do that. Exactly what we're doing. He'd do it right back at us. Stop it. And he was like, ew, Dad, gross. Not being the way that you are.
But I got to stop.
Excellent.
So, can you tell my listeners, plural, a little bit about who you be, where you at, what you do? No, I don't like what you do.
What you do? What that thing do?
What that do?
So I am a speech language pathologist. And I know it sounds fancy. I currently work with kids with autism. Okay, there's terminology. It used to be children with autism, and now the terminology is shifting to autistic children. Okay. It's like, I can't keep up with the labels. So I work with the autism population, all kids. And that's what I do. I work at 2 clinics. I'm in South Bend, Indiana, home of Notre Dame. And I know I'm in a college town. I am a very amateur dog mom to a very, very wonderful but extremely hyper pup named Rocky. And that's about it.
That's cool.
Oh, and I blog. I have a blog. Can I call myself a blogger? I don't know if I can call yourself a blogger. Well, then I'm a blogger on the side, aspiring novelist. Site? It is the messyslp.com.
And ladies and gentlemen, I will post it in the show notes.
Perfect.
Oh, fancy. I know what it's called now.
So fancy.
I think last time it was, I'll post it in that, whatever you call it.
Whatever it is. That thing where you can click and
put the links.
Yes. Put it in the show notes, girl.
Hell yeah. I have a funny story for you, just like off the record.
Excellent.
I'm having one of those dumb days.
Yeah, they happen.
It happens a lot after you grow a penis inside of your uterus, and
Fair enough. The best way that anybody's ever phrased that. Grow a penis inside of you. So excellent.
Oh. So yeah, I'm having one of those days, one of those stupid days, and my husband and I went to get Jersey Mike's. And I paid, and the guy's like, "Here, sign here, please." And I signed it, and I was like, "Do you get a copy too?" And the guy goes, "Yeah, the one you just signed." I was like, "Oh, duh."
You're like, "Oh man,
sorry, honey."
I think about that for the next 10 years of my life. Thanks. You wake up at 2 a.m. Of course he's getting the receipt. Katie. God damn it.
Caitlin Noel.
Caitlin Noel. Ah, so stupid.
Oh, man. So how did you get into speech pathology?
Speech. So I had graduated with my undergraduate degree, and I was personal training,
Mm-hmm.
and I was coaching volleyball. And I loved both of those jobs. In fact, I would love to coach again. But personal training, I was just like, I'm not finding fulfillment in this.
Mm-hmm.
Knew that I wanted to work with kids because I loved coaching. I was going to be a teacher. And then I decided to go back to school while I was young and had the time and didn't have kids or anything like that. And my stepmom is a speech pathologist. So it had come down to a school psychologist or a speech pathologist. And I went and observed her in a classroom. She was in a special ed classroom, and I just watched her interact with these kids. But more importantly, I watched these kids interact with her, and they just loved her. And so then I was like, all right, yeah, I think I could do that. And so truly, like, when I say it was on a whim, it was on a whim. Like, I hated when it was like, let's get to know each other at the beginning of the quarter. And they were like, why did you get into speech? And there's people that are like, oh, my brother got speech when he was growing up. And, oh, I had speech when I was growing up. And I was like, I mean, this is less school than a school psychologist. And I like to talk. So I feel like I could help people talk. I got very lucky, and my whim ended up being truly what I think I'm meant to be doing on this planet. So I got very lucky, because I don't think that everybody ends up, I don't think everybody's whim ends up being like, yeah, this is for sure the path that I was supposed to go down. So I got pretty lucky. So yeah, I learned about it from my stepmom, and then I was like, all right, sure, I'll do that. And then it ended up, I was like, I love this job. And like, I love it. I think I say it probably on a daily basis. I'm like, I love my job. Like,
that's
I'm
good
one
though.
Of those people. It is. And it's
that's really good.
It's nice because, I mean, especially working with kids, I mean, gosh, working in this field or any allied health, I'll be that person that like, allied health is hard. I think when you're working with people in any regard, whether it be retail or when you're dealing with keeping somebody else happy, it's hard. And then you add in, some of the medical stuff that you'll see, and like some of the behaviors that you'll see and stuff. Like, at the end of the day, sometimes it's like, wow, today sucked. But to have that, like, but I love my job to like fall back on, I think it's pretty cool. And I think I got super, super lucky.
Yeah.
So I'm one of the lucky ones.
I mean, I want to say the majority of the population probably doesn't like their job, or at least doesn't love their job.
I know. I love my job.
I mean, A, the fact that you love your job is pretty cool, and 2, the fact that it was on a whim.
I know.
And Roman numeral 3. You're a badass.
Oh, thanks. Badass speech pathologist. Here I am. So yeah, that's how I got into speech pathology.
That is so cool.
Love it.
So I want to ask you, I know we basically had this conversation already when I really didn't know anything, but ladies and gentlemen, for the longest time, I was watching her post pictures of her with thousands and millions of children in China, right? Is China?
Yeah.
And I had no idea what that was all about. So I asked her last time she was on, and we had a broken podcast. So I'm just gonna let's role play a little bit. Okay. Oh my gosh, I see you post these pictures of thousands and millions of children.
Oh yes.
From China. Can you tell me what that's about?
Yes, I can. So
thank you.
Yes, of course. This is so natural. Well done.
I know, right?
So the school that I went to, Loma Linda University. What's up, Loma Linda?
Shout out!
Shout out, Loma Linda. They every year take first year grads in the summer between your first and second year of grad school. They take a small group to go on a mission trip over to China. My freshman year, my first year, it was like my transitional year. So I had to do 3 years because I had to do some post-bac courses because my undergrad was not in comm sciences. So I remember, I can like picture it if I close my eyes. They presented on the China trip at orientation. I had no idea prior to this. And I saw my dad on my first day in school. I saw my dad after the first day, and I was like, they go to China. I'm going to China. I'm going to China. So anybody that knows me knows that this is very much Dani fashion. I had a year and a half until I would even, I think, be eligible to go, or like a year until I would be eligible to go. Maybe even more than that, to be honest. Anyways, I emailed the professor. I'm like, hi, I'm Dani. I'm new to the program, and I just really want to go to China. And that was pretty much what I did. So she knew my name, and then I knocked on the door. Hi, is it time to apply for China yet? Anyways, they were crazy enough to take me. So we went to China. We worked in a children's hospital over there. And we're really just, the whole goal, Professor Benner does a fabulous job. She's the one that's her baby. She's the one that really started it. And she does just a really good job of, our goal is to really just educate and collaborate, and bring over some of the research that we found, some of the techniques that we have, because, our culture is very different from the Chinese culture.
Oh yeah.
It's a very stoic culture. And so we were watching therapy one time. So I'd been twice. So the first time, I'm a student still, and we're watching therapy, and you couldn't tell if the kid was doing well or not. It was like, where's the feedback? Like, if you ever were to see me in therapy, a kid does the smallest thing, not even right, but like halfway right. And I'm like, yeah, like I'm pumped, right? I'm like, good job. You
nice.
Like I'm firing them up, right? But over there, it was like dirt, like very drill oriented, very little feedback. And so little things like that it's like, you gotta, like, kids learn through play. Like, that was a novel concept. Kind of bringing over what we had learned about autism, and stuff like that. Bringing over what we learned about autism, what we know about peds feeding and swallowing. So I was on the peds feeding and swallowing team with my mentor and best friend, Dr. Sharp. And shout out Dr. Sharp. I gotta text him like ASAP. I mentioned you in a podcast and called you my bestie. Anyways, so I was on the peds feeding and swallowing team with him. So we got to do some pretty cool stuff. And that was with my classmate Melissa. We were on that team. And anyways, just like, so we got to go over there. I mean, we did all the touristy stuff, but we're like working with the kids. And then we weren't even on the flight. We were on the flight home, and I like looked at Dr. Sharp and I was like, I'm coming back next year. He's like, yeah, you're coming back next year. So then I got to go back after I had graduated, which was really cool, because then I wasn't a student. I still didn't know a damn thing, but I was able to be in more of like a mentorship role. So like, I knew enough to teach a little bit. So then when I saw an opportunity, like I got to teach one of the students that went, she was a year behind me in grad school. And that was like, I don't know, that was pretty cool then to have that shift. And we're just like, we're helping kids. Like, there are these kids that I don't know, it's just all about helping the kids. And that's what it comes down to. And that's everything. And then being able to collaborate. At one point we were at a table with like pediatric neurologists and like these crazy, stupid, smart people. I know that's like quite the oxymoron, but
that's okay.
Anyways,
it's like when you go, stupid smartphone.
It's like, which we do often, don't we?
Yeah.
Stupid smartphone.
We do.
Yes. But I'm at a table with these like brilliant people, and it was like, when are you ever going to do that? And then ever be at a table with people like that? It would be rare in the United States to sit at a table with a pediatric neurosurgeon and a neurologist and all of and like these wicked smart people. and have them look to a speech pathologist and ask questions. Like my first year, I had a doctor tap me on the shoulder and ask what my professor was talking about. And I was like, I told him, I was like, I'm just a student. Like, and he's like, yeah, okay. Like the comment, like it didn't matter how long you had been at school, what your title was. All that mattered is that we were helping the kid. And like, I didn't realize, I knew that was special, but I'm almost reminded of how special that is every day that I'm here in the United States working, because it's like doctors aren't, and this is a very blanket overgeneralized statement, but it can be hard to get a hold of doctors. It can be hard to collaborate with a neurologist or something like that. And so, so not only did we get to help kids, but I got to like be in the presence of like some really brilliant people. And I just think that was so rad. So
that's so cool.
Yes. I'd go back in a heartbeat. Maybe not now with everything that's going on.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll hold off.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Give it a year.
Yeah, give it a year or so. Yeah. But anyways, it was truly like one of that like changed, I mean, honestly changed the course of my life for sure. That whole trip. It was beautiful.
That's so cool. And you could see it in the pictures. Like the smile on your face was like pure joy. That's the only way I could explain it.
That trip turned me into a joy junkie, like 100%. I had felt joy. I remember sitting on the back of the bus and like Dr. Sharp had made me laugh so hard that I was like, at this moment where I was like, I was in a relationship at the time that, was kind of fizzling out, but I didn't want to accept it because we were engaged, that whole shebang. And then I remember just belly laughing, and I was like, holy shit, like I haven't belly laughed like this in so long. And it was like, oof. And then like ever since then, it's been just this, like, I'm chasing the joy. And like, maybe that's, there's not always joy, but as long as you have like at least a little titch of joy, even on your rough days, So like I said, that trip turned me into a full-blown joy junkie.
That's
so
I'm
like,
cool.
I crave it. I need it.
That's why you're like, I love my job even when my day sucks.
I do.
Yeah.
People are like, how do you like being a speech pathologist? I'm like, I love it so much. I always tell people, if they're like, I have somebody that's very interested in going into speech, can I give them your number or your email? And I'm like, yeah, but apologize to them ahead of time for referring them to me, because I will talk their hair off about how wonderful I think this field is. Sorry ahead of time.
Ladies and gentlemen, China. Enjoy.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! China. Okay, we're not going to go there.
No, we can't do that. We can't do that. Not bad.
I still got this thing on.
Oh, you poor thing. Is it casted?
No, it's just, it's one of those tie-up braces with the metal pieces on the sides.
Ugh.
Yeah.
How'd you do that?
Sucks ass.
Sucks ass. Sucks ass. How did you do that?
Sucks ass. I was training a client, and I had just told her to move her dumbbells because she was about to do burpees into them. And she did her burpees, and then we did dumbbell snatches.
Oh.
You know what that is? You know that. You're a CrossFitter, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Dumbbell snatches because they didn't have any kettlebells.
Oh, okay.
And then we dropped the dumbbells and started doing wide stance high knees.
Oh, okay.
And my foot landed on the dumbbell that I had just thrown down.
No.
And it went, we heard a snap and everything. Yeah, but I got lucky. I didn't need surgery, and
that's good.
It was swollen, but it wasn't black and blue, and I was just like,
good.
So lucky. I Googled it when I was in pain and in their, urgent care, and I'm like, there's people a lot worse off than I am. So
you're such a good.
It still hurt, but
I would have been like, take me back now. Now I'm dying. Oh yeah, for sure.
Dying. Well, the thing is, when it first happened, it didn't hurt.
Oh.
I think that was probably the first time I've experienced shock, because we heard a snap. I saw my foot go into a 90-degree angle and it didn't hurt. And I was like, maybe I dodged a bullet. And the rest of the night I was walking fine. I did the dishes, prepped my coffee, cleaned the house,
Oh
got
my
everything ready for the next
gosh.
day. And I woke up and I'm like, oh, fuck. I can't move.
Oh,
I can't walk.
no.
Yeah.
That's
it sucked.
awful.
So
oh man.
now it's at the point where I don't know if you've ever rolled an ankle or sprained an ankle, pulled anything down there.
I rolled it once.
A long time to heal.
Mm-hmm.
But the last few weeks of healing, it doesn't hurt and you think you're fine. And everyone keeps saying, don't get on your bike. Even my doctor, don't get back on the bike yet. Wait 2 more weeks at least. And I'm like, but it doesn't hurt.
But I'm fine.
Yeah. But you can, I know.
She was not fine.
I just know from stories that you can re-injure yourself even worse than the first time.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm so frustrated because I made a new spin playlist on for Sunday, and I listened to them in my car, so I practice in my head what I'm going to do.
Right.
And as I'm practicing and yelling at my steering wheel, I start crying. I'm like, I want to do it too.
I want to spin.
I don't know. It's okay, though. I don't want to sound like a complainer, so...
Okay,
it's just in the frustrating phase where I'm like, I didn't get back on the bike.
Where you're like, I feel better.
Yeah. Cycling's my passion.
Cycling is life. It's like a life. Hashtag. It's like
hashtag life. Hold on. I'm IGing my Instagram.
I'm IGing my Instagram. Sure,
Katie.
Right.
Sure that ankle injury didn't go to your head? Your head?
The other day, my dad was out in Chicago for business. And so Chicago is like an hour and a half from me. And it's pretty close to where I work west. So he was like, hey, let's meet up for breakfast. So we're talking and I said something and he starts laughing. It was not funny. I was like, why are you laughing? He's like, you have a long A now. He said, you sound like you're in the Midwest. And I was like, no, I don't. He's like, yeah, you do. And then I was like, whatever. And so then I said something again and it had the word mom in it. So I said, mom. And he's like, ha, 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 ha. You are from the Midwest now. You said mom. I was like, shit.
That's funny. Miss Speech Pathologist.
Oh, no, what the heck, man? What the hell? I need to do therapy, accent modification with myself.
Well, then the question then becomes speech therapy for which accent?
I know. I don't know.
Is this a grammar thing or just a pronunciation thing?
I think it's a pronunciation thing.
Oh.
I don't know. I have to self-diagnose a little bit more.
Yeah. Coaches need coaches.
Yes, okay. Walk into the clinic. Help me. I need help.
Oh, man. Quick tip, ladies and gentlemen. Quick water tip, because drinking water is super important.
So important.
Would you like to expand on that? Drinking water?
You want me to expand on it? Drink your water. Don't be an asshole.
Don't be an asshole. Don't be an asshole to your body. One quick water tip, ladies and gentlemen, is if you can, keep a water bottle in every room in your house. So that way you're not like, oh crap, I left my water downstairs. No, you didn't. It's right there on your nightstand.
You have a bedside water, you smart son of a bitch.
I do. And I thought this was a big water bottle until I bought the other one. Yes.
So that's always been so way back when I was on the dating scene earlier. Well, I guess it was like this time last year. I was working at a pediatric feeding and swallowing clinic, and one guy, we were on a date.
Oh no.
And he goes, so what do you do? And I was like, well, I'm a pathologist. He goes, well, what is so you teach kids how to talk? And I was like, I hate when no, I don't just teach kids how to talk. I was like, no, I also work with feeding and swallowing. And he goes, swallowing? I was like, and yeah,
next.
Yep. And you can tell he's like trying not to laugh. And I'm like, yeah, no, I work with peds feeding and swallowing. And we have swallowing disorders. And he goes, well, it's like, all right, you're a child and this date is over.
Don't ever take me on a date.
And then I remember telling my friend Rebecca, this is when I was in North Carolina, I was like, I'm just going to start I'm like, make it fun. Like, I'm a swallowing specialist. And then have somebody go, excuse me.
Did you
Sorry.
say swallowing or shallowing?
Swallowing. Swallowing.
Oh my gosh. I don't think we could ever have a single conversation without laughing our asses off.
I don't think so. I think it's impossible. What is your podcast episode on? We just laugh at a bunch of stuff, to be honest.
Seriously. And I think this is a good time to give our listeners some background about the two of us.
Oh, yes.
Which, I mean, I want to say there isn't much.
No, there's really not.
Because there really isn't. She used to be one of my spin students when I lived in Riverside. And she was just so easy to like, I call people like you the ones I pick on, even though I don't really pick on people.
Right.
But like, I'd go up to her bike and make faces and
I giggle.
And laugh, walk away, But we just had this rapport between the two of us. And I don't think we really, I think we had conversations, but I don't think we really got to know each other until the last time we talked.
I know.
For a podcast.
It's true. It's very true.
But it's like this instant clicking and there's just some people out there you're like, we're meant to be friends. I don't care if you live in North Carolina, Indiana, Riverside, California.
Riverside.
You too can be friends with the swallowing specialist.
Excellent.
Yes.
Well done.
I don't know if you want to say well done, swallowing specialist. Oh, my cheeks hurt.
Sorry, Dad, if you're listening to this.
Oh, yeah. Parental units.
I don't think my grandma knows how to podcast. I apologize to her on social media a lot, but I don't think she knows how to podcast. I'm always like, sorry, grandma. And then I think she's so cute. I think she thinks that like my Facebook, so she's on Facebook. And so I think she thinks that if I post a story on Facebook, because my Instagram and my Facebook are linked, right? So if I post a story on Instagram, it shows up on Facebook. I don't even mean to. And I think she thinks that I send them to her directly because she always responds, thank you so much for sending, sweetie. And sometimes it's me like drinking a beer or like like something I did for a workout or my shake. And I think she thinks like, it's so sweet. I think she thinks that I'm sending them directly to her because she's always like, thank you so much. Love you. And I'm like, love you too.
You're welcome, Grandma.
Yeah, you're welcome, Grams.
You're so
You're welcome. But
that's
anyways,
funny.
Yeah.
But you know what? As long as she keeps thinking that, it's sweet.
I know. It's so sweet. It's so sweet.
Yeah.
So how's your little bud?
He's good. I hired a daycare. Is that how you say it?
For you.
I signed up for daycare.
Yeah.
That I found out is 2 houses down from my house.
Hello.
Yeah. So I did that because I have my full-time job, almost full-time. I think it's 32 hours. And then I have
Excellent. Well done.
Thanks.
Well done.
And then I have my cycling classes, and then I have my side hustle, Beautiful Beast.
Right.
And that's like the training and the life coaching.
Yeah.
And right now I'm trying to knock out a lot of content.
Good for you.
So, because I want it to be more consistent.
Right.
I think people like consistency. So like every Monday is my podcast. And now every Friday is, I don't know if you saw the ad for my cooking show, quote unquote. No. It's so stupid. It's so unprofessional. Oh my gosh.
I need to look it up.
Yeah, look it up. It's so funny. So that's every Friday now on YouTube.
That's awesome.
Wednesdays, this is what I'm working toward, just so you know what my goals are. Wednesdays are going to be called Back in the Day on Wednesday.
Okay.
And it's going to be edited old videos from like 10, 12, 15 years ago. Shenanigans. Just for fun, because part of my channel is just part of Beautiful Beast is laughter. So I figured I'll post some funny shit from back in the day. You know, like barking out car windows, doing my rendition of The Real World. I have a video of when my friends kidnapped me for my 24th birthday and blindfolded me and took me to my favorite restaurant. It's some fun shit. So I thought it'd be fun. And I say back in the day on Wednesday because I'm a Dane Cook fan. And he says in one of his skits that back in the day was always a Wednesday. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. And then Tuesday and Thursday is going to be some sort of content like why water's important, or here's a workout, you know, that kind of thing, with a video and a blog article that are the same topic.
Fabulous. Look at you go.
So long story short, I got a daycare for Desmond so that I can work 3 hours twice a week on that stuff.
That's good. That's smart.
Yeah. Because I was
knowing that you have that time pressure is probably helpful. I do well when I'm like today I had 2 evals to write up, and I knew that I had this at 8:00, and I was like, all right, I got to get this done. Like having that time for me, I'm a master procrastinator, so it definitely helps. So that's good.
Yeah.
You.
It's exciting.
Yay, you. I'm excited for you.
All of that, ladies and gentlemen, just came out of the question, how's your little one?
Daycare, YouTube, side hustles, all of it.
Yep. But he's doing great. He's almost transitioning into 5T pants.
Aw, look
2.5
boy pants.
He's 2.5. 2.5 of a year. 5T pants.
Big boy.
My boy.
That's
and
exciting, though.
Like, I hate using this word. Clearly not, because I've used it 5 times. But he's not fat. Like, I don't like using it in reference to children.
Right,
He's not fat. He's just big.
He's healthy.
Yeah, he's a big kid.
He's healthy. I can tell you as a feeding therapist.
Oh. And
swallowing. Feeding and swallowing therapist. Yeah. I do like to see chunky kids. Makes me happy when I see chunky kids. They're supposed to be trunker.
They are. Yeah.
They're little Buddha bellies.
Yeah. Like, if you just... Some people wouldn't agree with this, but if you just let them eat according to what their little bodies are telling them to eat, or not what their bodies are telling them to eat, but their bodies are saying, I'm hungry, so they eat.
Right.
And then their little bodies say, I'm full, so they stop eating, they push the food away. If we stop trying to force feed them when they're not hungry, or say, finish your plate or you don't get this, they're going to be chunky sometimes, and that's okay. Yes. And they're going to grow out of it and be at their normal, I want to say normal weight, whatever that means. But
their appropriate weight. Yes.
Weight means nothing.
Absolutely. And if you think about it, so what were you going to say? Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say weight is just the numerical value of the gravitational pull.
Yeah, it doesn't mean a damn thing. It's like, and then if you think about it, so kids and dogs, I watch my dog do it, although sometimes he gets too excited, he just doesn't eat. But like, kids are so good at going, I'm full, I don't want any more. And it's like, we are, for whatever reason, whether we're conditioned as kids or then we grow up in diet culture or whatever, our leptin and ghrelin, I believe, the hunger and the satiety hormones are so jacked up.
Yep.
Or we're like, oh, I'm hungry, but I'm an athlete. I'm not supposed to be hungry. I'm supposed to be eating a bunch. So let me eat even though I'm not hungry. Or then it's like, it's a hot mess. Yeah. There's a fabulous book called Break Free from Emotional Eating, I think it is. And it is so good about just like being in tune with your body and just being like, I'm just going to listen. And then your body's going to say, hey man, I'm hungry. And some days you might eat, 7 meals because your body was like, holy smokes, I'm hungry. And some days you might eat 2 because you're like, I'm just not too hungry. Yeah. It's like we get so far away from that as adults because of diet culture. But
is that one of the books that stemmed from intuitive eating?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. It might even be the same author, to be honest.
Evelyn Tribole and Elise Reich, I want to say. I'm obsessed with that book right now because I know I've said this. I feel like I'm saying it over and over, but that book literally, which is another overused word, that book literally changed my life and my whole outlook on diet culture and all of that crap.
Isn't that wild? Like it was so, isn't it sad? So like Janine Roth, Breaking Free from Emotional Eating.
Okay.
So
that name sounds familiar.
She also wrote another one, Women, Food, and God. So I haven't read that one yet.
I have that one, but I haven't read it.
Do you? Oh, yeah. Let me know how it is. Because like, it was like so profound. I think I was maybe 5 pages in. And so like, okay, so not to get too far into it, but so 7-ish years ago, my mom died. And when she was sick, people, that's how we cope with things, right? Like people are like, here, I made you food. And you're like, oh, thank you. And so then like, as that evolved, you're like, oh, food equals comfort. And so then as you go through, like the more that I learn about trauma and stuff like that, another good one is The Body Keeps the Score. It's all about the physiological manifestation of trauma. Fabulous book. Anyways, but as I've learned more about trauma, it's like, you're not even thinking about it. I'm not even thinking about, hey, food equals comfort. But it was just that like people, that's how people showed us love in a rough time, right? So then what do I do in a rough time? You turn to food and you're like, I'm stressed. I'm going to eat. Right. And so then it was like so profound. 5 pages into this, she's like, listen to your body. And when your body's hungry, eat. And it was like, wow.
It's so simple.
How so screwed up is it? Or then you do a diet and they're like, you need to eat 6 times a day, or you do intermittent fasting and you need to eat 1 time a day, or like, you must have protein at this time and you must have this. And it's like, or the alternative is I just eat.
Their diet culture rules. And what happens is I was doing the workbook for the intuitive eating book and it had me list out all the diets I've been on. And I went, I don't think this is all of them. And holy crap, there were like 15 diets.
Many, I'm sure.
At least 15, including one where I was so desperate, I spent $50 on a PDF that told me to eat all fruit on the first day, all vegetables on the second day, fruit and vegetables on the third day, no protein, no complex carbs like from grains and stuff like that. So
nothing.
Yeah, and there was a pineapple diet. There was, of course, the low-carb craze. Don't even get me started on that. I had a friend the other day say, carbs are bad for you. I'm like, no, your brain needs carbs to function properly. He's like, no, they're bad for you. I'm like, well, I don't like being one of those people that's like, I'm right, you're wrong. But if the National Academy of Sports Medicine tells me in a nutrition book that you need carbohydrates for your brain to function, I think I'm going to believe them. And he's like, okay.
Anyway. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, no, I was just going to say it had me list out all these diets that I've been on. And what happens is, with each diet that you go on, you adopt a set of rules. Whether you go off the diet or not, you adopt a set of rules. So even when you're not dieting, which is what I was, ladies and gentlemen, I put that in quotes. When you're not dieting, which is what I was doing, I was finally like, I'm anti-diet. And, diet's not something you go on. It's just what you eat. Right. And at the same time, I was obsessively counting calories. And if I didn't count my calories in MyFitnessPal, I would feel like a piece of shit because I didn't track my calories. I didn't track my exercise. I wasn't tracking. And I finally I read this book and I'm like, oh my God, I'm free.
So profound. And
I'm not crying. You're crying.
Right. It's so screwed up.
Yeah.
So
I already know what present I'm going to send you for this interview.
Oh my gosh, I don't need a present.
Yes, you do.
I don't feel like
I'm
I
going to
get a
send you the
present.
book. I'm going to send you the book. I mean, if it makes you feel better, it's really cheap right now because they're coming out with the 4th edition in July, I think. But it's such a good read.
If you listen to Mind Pump, it's a fantastic fitness podcast. I love those guys.
Hold on, I'm gonna look it up right
those
now.
guys. They're super just blunt. They give the research and they'll tell you like what works for them, but they always back it up with research. And recently they dove into low carb versus low fat diets. Mm-hmm. And, they're for healthy men. So Mind Pump. Yep. Those are the guys. Follow them on Instagram too, because they're all fabulous. But anyways, they went into the low carb thing. And so they said, yes, low carb has worked for us in some regards, because what does it come down to? A calorie deficit. And they bring in the people that are like, sure, it does work. Like for my stepmom does keto and she loves it. Yeah. It works for her. Right. Well, so for her, it balanced her hormones and stuff like that. Gotcha. So she did have some insulin resistance, right? Me, somebody that didn't have insulin resistance, I went keto and I gained weight and I hated it and I felt miserable and my gut was messed up. And so it's like, we're all an N of one, and my dieting, quote unquote, dieting history is going to be different than so-and-so's. Yeah. And like, my genetic expression and all of that stuff. But those guys say all of that. And like, you don't find a lot of fitness people anymore that are like, here's what the research says, here's what works for us. But disclaimer, that's not what's going to work for you. Because even if you are going to be keto, you might need to be keto in this expression, or you might need to be high carb in this expression. And like, they go into it and it's like, oh, fabulous. Like finally some people who aren't in it to like make money or like stand, die on the hill for their diet. And they're like, oh, sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't work. It is what it is. So highly recommend them. They are fabulous.
I started following them. I have another one for you to follow. Her name's Dr. Stephanie Reinold, and her podcast is called It's Not About the Food.
Ooh.
It's so good. And I love her. Yeah, she goes into all this stuff, and she's a doctor. She's a board-certified psychiatrist and eating disorder specialist. And I think I'm her number one fan.
Shout out.
And she did this. Oh, man. I wonder if you're able to get into this, but she did this thing called the 12 Diets of Christmas. And she went through 12 diets in December and went over all of the study, well, not all of them, but studies and why they're good, why they're bad. And it's good if you want. I think it's 12dietsofchristmas.com. Something simple. Okay, cool. But yeah, check it out. Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen. I love when people start speaking my language.
Like in the language.
This is like, I always felt I wanted to combine life coaching and personal training somehow, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I always felt like there was this piece missing with the diet portion. Like, we know what we're supposed to do, but why aren't we doing it? And then my friend was like, have you ever heard of intuitive eating? And ever since then, I'm like, this is the answer to my question. So I feel like
sad that we have to label it though. That just like so sad that we have to label it. That's a way of eating is intuitively. Oh God.
Somebody said if diet culture didn't exist, it would just be called eating.
It's so freaking true.
Yeah.
And it blows my mind. Like you see people in their 80s and 90s that did not grow up in a diet culture as pervasive as ours, and you see them at a diner and what are they eating? An ice cream, probably a stack of pancakes, probably because they woke up that morning and went, I'm going to the diner with my wife after church and we're going to have some pancakes.
And there was nobody behind the counter back in the day going, oh my God, there's carbs.
Right. That is gluten. Right. Like,
gluten.
I mean, okay, full disclosure, I am primarily gluten-free just because I feel better on it, but that's about it. I don't, but I do eat gluten, and I don't label myself as gluten-free, and like, I don't know.
See, it's all about the person, you know?
You are an N of one. Find your own expression of whatever the hell it is that you want to express.
Exactly.
Be a gluten-free keto vegetarian.
There you go. But yeah, I just feel like this is my calling. Like, I feel like I'm meant to, first of all, reteach myself how to become an intuitive eater, since we're all born that way.
Right.
And then teach other people how to do it, you know?
Yeah.
That's the missing piece with fitness, mind, body, emotions, spirit, crap, shit.
And it's hard because you have like on a neurological level, those neurons fire and fire and fire and fire. So then it comes down to, it is rooted in our brains that without even thinking about it, that's where our mind goes.
Yeah.
It's like, you literally have to override it. And like another one, Switch on Your Brain by Dr. Carolyn Leaf. Fabulous. Like absolutely unreal.
We'll post and it's all about notes.
Yes, post it in the show notes. But fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. So anyways, yes, sometimes you need some external motivation in the form of a coach for help.
Yep. And it's gonna take me a while, personally. With all good intentions, that my mom put me on diet pills when I was 8.
Yeah. And
she says, you begged me for those. And I'm like, Mom, I'm not saying it like it's a bad thing.
Right.
I'm just saying this is what it is. Like, you thought you were helping me. It's okay. Everything's okay. Everybody's okay. It's okay.
It's all good, right? You turned out fine.
I did. Well, maybe not mentally, but that's still not her fault.
You turned out wonderfully. You're wonderful.
Thank you.
So, oh my gosh, I love having this conversation with people.
So fun. I'm glad we did this a second time because we didn't have this conversation first.
Yeah. See? You know, just for shits and giggles, I'm going to listen to the last one.
Oh my gosh, I think we talked a lot about relationships.
We did. Side note, that's why we yeah. Yeah.
There was a relationship mentioned that is no longer a relationship, and I was like, maybe we don't post that.
I'm like, okay.
Sure, we'll do it again in a few months. Okay.
Yeah. So this was such an awesome conversation. I'm
so fun. Oh my gosh.
That statement wasn't canned or anything. No, but really, I love having that conversation, and I think that this is a good place to end it. Until next time, of course.
Obviously.
But I do have one question for you that I ask everybody at the end of each episode, which you already know, and I don't know if you remember your answer from last time, but vaguely. I do. If you had one piece of advice that you could give to the world, what would it be? And I think you had 4 things.
Drink your water, call your people, tell people you love them. Don't live out of fear. Don't live out of fear. That's my recent one. Don't live behind walls. We put up walls. We get offenses up, right? Like somebody offends you in a relationship or something like that, and then we have walls built for the next one. We have friends that do us dirty. We have a job that did us dirty, stuff like that, because life happens. Don't live life from behind a wall. That would be my advice in this stage of my life, is not to live life behind a wall. Get the hell out there. Get the fuck out there and just go.
Break down the fucking walls.
Break down the wall.
Yeah.
If you totally hate that, you can totally edit the other one.
No, that was awesome. That was awesome.
Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, hold on. That was way too sex kitten. Ladies and gentlemen, Dani Newcombe signing off. Until next time.
Bye.